Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am your host, Chad Lyon, and joining me is Tyler Bevel.
Hey.
And our producer, Mitchell Bird.
Hello.
This is our Week 11 game slate reaction. How's Ty Guy?
Doing good.
Have a good weekend of lots of points?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. I was
got snubbed out by Mitchell in your redraft league.
Disley.
Yeah, Will Disley. We'll talk about him eventually. I don't know, I've been on a roll, so this was due. Like in all the leagues, I've been on a pretty good roll. This week was due.
Yeah.
But still, the ones that I'm contending in as far as Dynasty go, good shape. Well, I might lose, but I'm still in good shape.
Right. You're in
Done
position.
enough to this point.
Yeah.
These weeks will happen. With all this point scoring, I thought for sure, I'm like, oh yeah, we're in it. Yeah, I was in it in some of them. We do have a top 3 today. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
It's a good one. Give me your top 3 people you'd like to have dinner with, dead or alive.
This is a big one.
It's a big one. This one. I mean, thought about this one for a few days. There's too many people. It's like, there's so many. Narrowing it down to 3. I know I left so many off.
Right.
Whatever.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh,
Hey.
Just because, like, with the Kennedy assassination, I just think that was such a huge turning point in America.
What did they do to you, Lee Harvey?
Yeah, like what would he say in a dinner conversation? Because this is a dead or alive thing. Obviously, he's dead. What would they say in a conversation where it didn't matter and there's no consequences?
Right.
Yeah.
Why would he not just tell his full side of?
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear that.
Yeah, and I've went down both rabbit holes. I've looked into this from the logical standpoint, and I've watched some of the documentaries that are a little, but they're make some points and stuff too. So Lee Harvey Oswald, Jesus.
Oh,
again, I just want to know, okay, that's what you actually look like. Cool. I have some questions. Like it. And this would probably be the most entertaining one for me, maybe not less, but I'm going to cheat and I'm going to say both the Roosevelt brothers, Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Teddy Roosevelt.
That's fine.
Both those guys just did such great things for this country. And I think we take for granted the vision that Teddy Roosevelt had in the shady backhanded deals that he had to do that at that time was very frowned upon. Like, because a lot of people wanted to just come out here and get everything we could off the land and all this. And, that being that far ahead, to have that forethought to, no, we're going to preserve this. And I mean,
yeah,
1-1.
Yeah.
Strong agree.
Those are my 3.
I don't know who would argue with that last point you just said. It's like, just take it all. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's a good 3, Ty.
That's good. Yeah, good on him for having that forethought. You're right. How about you, Mitchell? What do you got?
Well, for me, I thought about this, and once I realized my number 1 is going to be my dad. Passed away in heaven, and I would love to have just one more dinner with my dad. So I'm going to kind of cheat on that one.
That's not a cheat.
Nobody else is going to have that one. But number 2, we're going back to earth here. Nikola Tesla. I would love to talk to that guy because that guy's brain was just filled with information. I'm not sure how much of a conversationalist he is, but I would love to have a dinner and just find out.
Yeah.
And number 3, I'm going to bring it to football and go Art Rooney Sr. Love to talk to that
Chief.
man. I mean, I wanted to pick maybe a player, but I'm like, there's nobody that knows more about the history and everything that happened. That guy.
Yeah.
So
that's a good top.
That'd
3.
be a really good, interesting one. The Art Rooney one I like, and the Tesla one I like a lot too.
Yeah, for sure. I like your first one. I think that's a great thought.
Well, I didn't know his dad. As it came out of my mouth, I felt terrible. Like, I like Tesla. And,
I
didn't know him either. I just think that's a good. That's a good
one.
thought.
Yeah.
It's a really good thought. My number 1 would be Abraham Lincoln.
Nice.
Just I have a million questions.
Love it.
I got a million questions, man. I wanted. It's like, you were an undefeated wrestler, huh? And then there's the obvious questions. The obvious stuff that I'm definitely going to ask. Like, man, what kind of flack did you take for making that decision?
Right.
Props to you for holding firm, man, because things were very different back then.
You never told a lie.
Are you sure? Not one? Number 2 is Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yep, I would love to have dinner with Bill Murray.
Strong
I think that
agree.
would be great.
Yeah.
I went all over with this one, and Bill Murray's in so many of my favorite movies. Like, dude, I love this movie, and I feel like it flies under the radar, and not enough people talk about how good it is. But Groundhog Day is
Groundhog Day.
I love
Classic.
that movie. I love that. A ton of his movies, man. Even when he just has like a quick cameo,
Right.
I mean, he played Hunter Thompson.
Yep.
In Where the Buffalo Roam, that Johnny Depp later made much more popular with
Mhm.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But if you haven't seen that, that's great. You know, the grandpa from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He plays his attorney. I just think Peter Boyle. I
Yeah.
think it's awesome. It's great. Number 3 would be Clay Newcomb. I just think he is. If anyone doesn't, he's a big outdoors guy. He does the Bear Grease podcast. His stories, like he just like pulls me in when I'm driving down the
Yeah.
road. He's just an awesome storyteller, and I'm sure he has all kinds of awesome like outdoors hunting type stories that would just enthrall me.
Yeah.
Clay Newcomb is one of the greatest storytellers I've ever heard too. When he does every spring, he does a series called Turkey Tales, and he just brings in all these like just Joe Schmoes, man, that have awesome turkey stories, and they're just like an hour and a half long and tells a story, and that's really cool, man. I'm a big fan of his podcast and him in general.
Oh yeah.
So, do you like Clay Newcomb?
I do.
Yeah.
If my girl makes fun of me all the time because I have a man crush on Ranella. So if I had to choose between a conversation between the two, I'd take Ranella, but I love Clay Newcomb too. They're both great.
Ranello, if the list was longer,
Yep.
I could fit him on there. But
If
I just had, like, Chelsea makes fun of me all the time, so I have this man crush on Ranella. Like I have his books, like, and it's a storytelling thing too. Ranella has aspects of that.
Yes.
Maybe not as good as the small stories, but
He's a great writer.
it was always like that for me too initially until I found out about the Bear Grease podcast.
yeah,
Once I found out about that listening to Joe Rogan, who always
Mhm.
had Ranella on, and he had Newcomb on through Ranella, and I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, this guy sounds awesome." I'm like,
right.
it was a cool podcast. He talks about, they harvest a bear and they use everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like renders down the bear fat and like uses it to cook and does it all the right way. And I think it's really interesting. Yeah, he's a pretty interesting guy.
I love both of them.
Yeah,
They're both great.
They're both
Yeah.
great. Yep. All right, you want to get into some football?
Let's do it.
Let's start with the 1:00 games. Real exciting one here. The Raiders 19, the Dolphins 34.
Woo woo.
Yeah, Tua had a solid like bye week spot start.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people rolled the dice there. Good matchup. 28-36, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, like around 26 fantasy points. You'll take it.
Oh yeah.
He's not a guy I'm running to start every week, but when you play the Raiders, you start the quarterback.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yep.
Unless it's Will Levis. We figured this would be kind of a get right game for Tyreek.
Yeah, he did pretty good.
Yeah, he got right. Caught 7 of 8 targets, 61 yards and a touchdown, 19 PPR points. If your trade deadline is still open, are you selling high on this? Are you going to hold this rest of the season? Playoff schedule is Houston, San Fran, Cleveland. The Houston really does struggle against the pass.
They
And
do.
Cleveland's defensive backfield is really kind of taking a
I would
beating.
say I'm
Like
gonna
Denzel Ward's out again.
I'm gonna stick to my guns on this Dolphins and getting going a little bit from a fantasy perspective, and I would say I would hold this.
Okay.
Now, I will fade on Waddle a little bit
yeah,
because I've been kind of talking him
so
up, saying
out
if
on
they
that.
get Tua going, but man, they're just spreading the ball around so much that it's.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will.
I think 8 or 9 different Dolphins players caught a pass this week,
Yeah,
and most of them were multiple.
I will sell.
You'll sell Tyreek Hill, see if you can get the name value out of
If I
it.
get the name. The wrist kind of bothers me a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
we talked about how surgery is an option. He's like, but right now I'm looking to play through the season. That bothers me a little bit. I don't know. I want to buy that the Dolphins as a whole. I don't know, man. I have a hard time seeing it, but also it's one of those weird things where I struggle to see it, but also I could. And I think I'm just going to lean to the side where there are players I would rather have than Tyreek personally. If I could get one of them, I'm not going to sell them for nothing. If I can get something that I really like, I'll move them.
Yeah.
But if it's stagnant offers, I think that's a bad move and you should just hold.
Okay.
We just talked about that. Continuing to fade Waddle. How about Jonnu Smith?
Is he for real? Like, it's starting to be a thing.
Starting to kind of wonder. It's weird because Miami doesn't usually use tight ends. And all of a sudden, we're just supposed to believe.
But he's fast.
Boogies, man. He really can boogie.
Maybe they just had to find a tight end that was fast enough.
I guess. I don't know, man. Back in week 7, he had 22 fantasy points. PPR points.
Mm-hmm.
8, 9, and 10. Weeks 8, 9, and 10, it was 6, 9, and 7, and now 28 again. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I suppose, if you've been struggling there with tight end, and a lot of people have, you could certainly add him. I mean, I wouldn't go, dropping somebody fairly useful,
right?
But if you had a spot, some garbage on your bench that you can afford to get rid, I would give it a chance. I mean, he looks great with the ball in his hand. He looks good. Targets since week 7. Actually, let's go targets since week 5. Week 5, 8 targets, then a bye. Then week 7, 7 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 4, and then 8 against the Raiders. I don't know. I'd say when the matchup is one of those deals where the Dolphins can just run all over points-wise, probably a fine start.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't lean into this as like, hey, every week. But, yeah, I'd say he's a decent ad, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I'd call him the best ad, though. I think there's some good ads this week. Did you feel like that after this week of football?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Achane. He just keeps being Achane.
Yeah.
Another 20 PPR point outing, 21 total touches. I mean, it's his backfield. Solid usage in the passing game. He does have a tendency to be a little boom or busty, yes? 5 games under 10 PPR points and 5 games with 20 or more.
Yeah, I guess.
Actually, I pulled that up and I was like, oh, I didn't know that it's because I don't have any stock in Achane, so I'm not
right.
I don't see it on a weekly basis on any of my rosters. So, but yeah, I mean, like week 1 and 2 is 22 and 28 points, then 4 straight games, 8, 5, 2, a bye, 9. Then 26, 31, then 9, now 20. So just tossing that out there. But yeah. I will say this. It seems like if you go from week 7, like the first 5 games, 22, 28, 8, 5, 2. Then they go on by, they come back 9, but then 26, 31, 9, 20. So it seems like it's
getting better,
getting a little better, getting a little smoother. And you love to see that if you're someone who has him,
right?
Making a playoff push here. You need that. That would mean the world to anyone that has him. So, when the Dolphins are rolling, he's as good as anyone.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to avoid him. And now that I think about it, maybe some of that has to do with Tua not being there. I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I remember now that I'm thinking about it, there was some rough starts there.
Yeah.
So Tua's back. Everybody's healthy. I don't see the problem with Achane at all. As far as the Raiders, how about Brock Bowers, man?
What a stud.
Total stud. He's out here setting tight end records. 16 freaking targets. He caught 13 of them, 126 yards, a touchdown, 31 PPR points. It's insane. He's unbelievably good.
Filthy.
Tight end 1 finish.
Had to be, right?
No, I mean like rest of the season.
Oh, yeah. He'd be my tight end 1 right now.
I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
You make the argument between him and Kittle, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was initially on this Kelsey thing, but man,
I was just gonna say though that I would maybe put Kelsey in that conversation still. Though it's
Buffalo played man all game. Everyone's afraid to do that. You see what happened?
Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a bit, but that was a little alarming. Yeah, I mean, come on. If you have Brock Bowers and you probably got him quite late in your drafts, I mean, you're all about this. If you have another tight end and your trade deadline's still open and you need something, move whoever that other guy is and go get it. Whatever that something is you need. Madison and Zamir White both left with injuries. Amir Abdullah scored a touchdown. Listen, I want nothing to do with
a receiving
backfield.
touchdown, mind you.
Yeah. I don't I don't want anything to do with this.
No.
I made my case weeks ago for Madison. They've changed so much since then.
Madison was still the guy that you would have
Yeah.
wanted in this matchup, but I mean, between him and Zamir White.
Right. Jacoby Myers finished with 9 PPR points. Better games ahead for him. He's still a pretty high-end flex for me.
Jacoby, you see this stat?
What?
Jacoby Myers carried the ball 1 time for 20 yards, led the Raiders in rushing. Alexander Madison had 5 carries, 19 yards. Zamir White had 5 carries for 9 yards.
Get out of my face. Come on.
Jacoby Myers, 1 carry, 20 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to him.
Furthering Chad's point that you don't want anything to do with this backfield.
No, but I will continue with Jacoby Myers. I think the target share is too much. It's him and Bowers, man.
Yeah.
He's a flex for me. And actually we'll have weeks where he's a pretty high end flex, I think still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on targets and volume alone. All right. You got anything else for this one?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to the Browns 14, the Saints 35. Tyler,
Mm-hmm.
if Taysom Hill is available in your league, you should add him.
Pick him up.
So we talked about this last show. Right at the end, I had a little spiel about Taysom Hill.
Yep.
Listen, it feels as safe as it ever possibly could to start Taysom Hill.
A lot more than safe during that Sunday game.
Yeah, no kidding. But that's what we were saying Friday. It's like, it's just Kamara, man. And then after Kamara, it's Kamara, and that's it. So somebody has to do something. Taysom Hill can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can do it all. So why wouldn't they use him? And Christ, they did. 40 freaking fantasy points.
Yeah. I know it was an interception, but he cranked one of those passes he threw too. He threw it downfield. I was like, oh boy.
Is he a must-start tight end?
Boy, I think at this point, if that's the usage that you're going to see, obviously you're probably not going to average 19.7 yards per carry.
Right.
But if you're telling me that Taysom Hill is going to get the ball within the realm of 10 to 15 times a game, yeah.
Hell, within the realm of 10?
A tight end that's going to touch the ball 10 to 15 times a game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't see why not.
No.
They're using him more than ever, too. The Saints have nothing to lose. They're just out there playing loose football, right?
Yeah, he ran the ball 7 times. He caught 8 catches. So assuming that's the high end.
Come on.
If that's the high end,
yeah.
I mean, 10 to 15 touches that you're going to get from your tight end.
Taysom Hill's a great start with 8 touches.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you can essentially cut what he did in half and touches wise and still feel good about
He's going to
him.
get, and some of these runs were long, but Taysom Hill is probably going to get some goal line work.
Yes,
a lot of it.
Absolutely, he is. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm buying this. I do say, God, it's so hard to say. I can't believe I'm saying. Yes, I do. I think he's a must-start tight end.
Yeah.
I do. That's crazy, man. They're headed into a bye. Hold him on your bench.
Yep.
I am not buying Valdez-Scantling. I'm just not. What are you doing here?
No, if he doesn't catch a deep pass, it's not going to be worth having on your team.
Yep, I'm fading it. Go add Taysom Hill if you can.
Yeah.
You got anything else for the Saints? I don't have
No.
anything else for the Saints. There's the obvious stuff with Kamara. Keep starting Kamara. Jameis.
Fantasy good. It's great for fantasy.
Yeah. Hey, he didn't get revenge.
He looks like old Jameis.
Yeah.
It's like 400 yards passing almost.
390. He threw the ball 46 times.
I love it.
Me too. He didn't get revenge, but he was great, as far as fantasy goes this week. Look, you can't start him every week.
He can't play defense.
But I do believe that the schedule isn't very good here for Jameis.
He's got the Steelers Thursday.
Yeah. He has the Steelers twice coming up. Yeah, he's got the Steelers week 12, then he's got Denver, and the Steelers again week 14. Fantasy playoffs is Kansas City, Cincinnati, Miami. I mean,
whoever set up the Steelers schedule, screw you, bro.
Yeah, you get to deal with Jameis twice. Pretty well back to back, right?
I'll be yelling at the TV come on, guys, take it easy on Jameis.
So, yeah, I don't think, do you trust Jameis against whoever? Because you can't, right? This has to be a matchup-based spot start type deal. Because
I think he's going to sling it, but I think there's going to be a lot of. I think James. I don't know. He's above some of the middle of the road for that than me. Like
just because it's so much throwing.
I think he's going to sling it all over the place.
Yeah, he might surprise in a game or two.
Yeah, but like against it, I'd be fading him on Thursday night against the Steelers. I'm not.
I don't want to play him against Kansas City.
No.
Didn't I say Denver or no?
Denver.
Was Denver in there?
Denver seems iffy on to me. I thought they already played Denver though, but I could be wrong.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. That's week 13. So it's Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh, Kansas City.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I think I might want to avoid him there, but we'll talk about that more as the week goes on here. He does make these pass catchers relevant, and Njoku's a must start. I love it. 9 targets, caught all 9, 81 yards, 17 PPR points. Keep starting him, man. Judy led in targets with 11, had that huge touchdown play, caught 6 for 142 yards and a touchdown, 26 PPR points. Tillman and Moore, both with 8 targets. Moore did catch a touchdown. Moore 18 PPR points to Tillman 7. Still Tillman over Judy and Moore rest of season. How are we approaching this one? I think this is going to be like the Packers deal, man. Like it's just they're all 3 are startable, flexible in a sense. But
I'm gonna stick to my guns for now. But Judy looked good in this game.
He did. To me, it's Tillman, Judy, Moore. But
yeah, it's the opposite of how the points were.
Right, but this happens again, though. I mean,
right.
But again, I think they're all 3 of these guys you can flex. It's just who's gonna get the touchdown.
Yeah.
Right? Because if Tillman scores a touchdown, it's 13 PPR points. Right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's who gets the touchdown, basically. Chubb had 11 carries, 5 yards, 5 PPR points. I don't know if I want to do this rest of the season, man.
It's you say that and like it's 4.5 average, but man, it just seems like they're a little bit nervous to really give him.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And I don't know. This game got out of hand too.
Yeah, it did. So, yeah, hope it gets a little better here for Nick Chubb. But
I
thought he'd have some.
I'm
real
curious
awesome
to see how he does
appeal,
against the Steelers because I expect the Steelers to win that game, but I don't think it's going to get out of hand.
Right.
Curious to see if they'll give him more opportunity.
Okay. All right. Guess we're going to find out soon enough, aren't we?
Yep.
Anything else here?
Nope.
Let's move on to the game I've been waiting for. The Colts 28, the Jets 27. Oh, boy, there's a lot to unpack here.
Light a cigarette, Mitchell.
Let's start with the Colts. Anthony Richardson, 20 of 30 for 272 yards and a touchdown, 10 carries, 36 yards, 2 touchdowns, 29 fantasy points. In the fourth quarter, 0% off target rate. That's a great finish, man, when you need it. Listen, I thought, I said that I thought he was going to come out and be more himself, do the things that make it. He did just that, actually. Steichen said in his absence that, and usually you ignore the coach speak stuff, and maybe it is just BS, but he did say in his absence that Richardson worked quite tirelessly on all the small stuff. To the eyes, it did look much better when you watch the game. It's pretty clear to me that they're scheming things up specifically for Richardson, making things a little simpler. He was able to open up more as the game went on, I think, because of that. They created some comfort for him. Instead of Steichen being like, no, this is how we're going to do it. You're going to do it like this. It's like he stepped back and said, all right, let's try to do some things that make him comfortable. And maybe things will open up a little bit. Let's do some things Anthony likes to do. There were designed runs and everything. Like there was some, it's like, that wasn't a scramble. He was assigned to run that play,
right.
Period. Are you buying this rest of the season?
Oh, yeah.
It is Anthony Richardson a must-add this week.
Yep.
He was a must-add when they said he was starting again.
Yeah.
And you made that pretty clear, and I agreed. I don't want to get too carried away because it is the Jets. They're clearly not as good as we thought on the defensive side of the ball.
No.
It doesn't feel like. So, but there's so much upside here, and this game proved it.
Yeah, I'll get carried away for you. Anthony Richardson, I'd go. I'm pretty much all in on this for the rest of the season. I mean, I don't know that I can't think of any other scenario or you're going to pick up a quarterback possibly off of waivers that could just very easily finish top 10 rest of the season.
Yeah. Okay. I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, quick on Jonathan Taylor, 6 PPR points, 24 carries. The volume's still there. They just found success elsewhere. They did give him some opportunities. He just struggled this week, but zero concerns.
Right.
Tell you else, you know who else I've got zero concerns with? Josh Downs. 19 PPR points, 5 targets, 5 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Targets were down a little bit. He had 9 or more like the last 3 weeks, but I'm not concerned. Richardson trusts him. Staff trusts him. Starting Downs every week. The talent continues to elevate him over his situation, which might be getting better with Richardson here, because we were kind of like, but
from a fantasy perspective, though, if it stays the same, you're more than happy.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's just at that level, it's good.
You're pushing wide receiver 2 territory every week out of this guy, man. So, yeah, love me some Josh Downs. Pittman with 9 PPR points, but 8 targets. Still fading Pittman?
Yeah,
me too. How about Pierce? 10 PPR points, 4 targets. Are you going to add either one if they're available?
No.
Okay. A.D. Mitchell getting a little more involved.
He had that one called back, too, but that one play was really nice, too.
Yeah.
It made a lot of people miss. He almost got a touchdown.
I think there's something there.
I think that was the only catch he had, though, other than that one that was called back.
I think so. It was pretty minimal. But there's something there. I think potentially. I like him.
Talent's
as far
there.
As Dynasty?
Yep.
Up. Yeah, if I can get him on my team, I will. What do we do with these Jets? Let's make this quick here. It's Breece Hall or bust at this point, man. Hall was great, as he should have been against this particular defense.
This team has gotten worse. Even at the beginning of the year when they were struggling, I never thought I'd see the 4 reception for 18 yards from Garrett Wilson.
Yep. I don't know.
I mean, Adams wasn't there then either, but
Hall was great. 30 PPR points, 23 touches, 7 in the air. That's the usage we hope for.
Yeah, and you were in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Garrett Wilson with 5 PPR points, Adams with 13. It
doesn't even look like Aaron Rodgers either. It's so West Coast. Everything is just, they're not hitting on any of the passes downfield. Everything that they are completing is within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I'll say this, and this is not what anyone wants to hear, but I'm in this boat with, I've got Adams, or I have Garrett Wilson in a dynasty league that I'm contending in. And listen, it's too late. You're stuck with these guys now.
Yeah.
Either your trade deadline is hit or people are going, why would I want them?
Right.
So you're stuck. You got to hope it gets better. I don't know what else to say.
Right.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to the Vikings 23, Titans 13. Sam Darnold bounces back. 24 fantasy points against a tough Tennessee defense, though I think they were down Snead. Right? No Snead?
I think so.
Regardless, 20 of 32, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries for 18 yards and a touchdown. Back to trusting Darnold or still hesitant?
Hesitant.
You're a little hesitant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Still Sam Darnold.
Got Chicago next week.
Right.
We'll see. I don't know. There's just other places I'd rather go than Darnold. But I get it. I mean, if he's your guy, you're happy to see this. Down week for Jefferson, 14 PPR points, but better days ahead. However, Jordan Addison left the game with cramps, so I assume he's probably okay. 8 targets, only caught 3 for 61 yards, did score a touchdown, 15 PPR points. He gets double-digit points every other game that he plays. Very weird.
One of those guys.
Yeah. So I guess, flex him according to the game scoring pattern. So we'll just bench him next week and then start him the following. And bench him and then start him. I don't know. It's very strange. And he doesn't catch a lot of his targets. He gets decent targets. He just doesn't. 3 of 8. I don't know. Yeah. Follow the pattern, I guess. Down week for Hawkinson, 2 catches for 18 yards, 3 PPR points. Josh Oliver's kind of a weird problem. Only 3 targets, but let's not forget the Titans. That's a solid defense, especially against tight ends.
The Titans are actually a great defense for how often their offense turns the ball over and they still hold teams to the
I know.
The amount of points that they do.
Yep. You worried about Hawkinson at all?
A little bit. I think that all of everything's weird.
Yeah. The snap percentage isn't great.
Right.
I think it was around like 54%.
Yeah, that's not what you want.
But maybe it's still easing him back. I don't know.
As long as 80 or 90% on third down.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I guess if you have a better option, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you have Taysom Hill. Next week you don't have a choice. You got to play Hawk. But if it doesn't get right by then, maybe start sticking Taysom Hill or something in there.
I think it's going to be hard. In all seriousness, it's going to be hard to start a tight end over Taysom Hill next week.
Well, he's on bye.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But the week after,
right.
Week 13 on, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm in that boat. In my redraft league, I have Hawkinson, and I usually only carry one. But I was like, I traded Bowers, and I'll add Taysom Hill, I guess. And now this has happened. So I'm in a bit of a bind with that.
It's a good bind.
Yeah, it's not a terrible bind. But Aaron Jones, 4 PPR points on 16 touches. Cam Akers, 11 PPR points on 2 touches. He also scored a touchdown. What the hell do we do with this?
12 touches.
12, sorry.
Cam Akers had 12.
Screwed up my notes. 11 PPR points on 12 touches. Okay. He scored a touchdown. What do we... Is this an outlier?
I hope, but I'm a little concerned at the workload between Aaron Jones and Cam Akers right there.
Kind of weird, right?
15 carries at 10. Cam had 2 catches. Aaron Jones had 1. Cam far more productive.
I wonder if he's a little more banged up than we're led to believe. Aaron Jones.
I shouldn't say that. They both averaged right around 2.5 yards per carry, so neither of them was really.
Do you think this is a let's keep Aaron healthy thing, or like?
I would lean towards that. This is okay. If Aaron Jones is struggling to find lanes, we're going to let Cam Akers have a couple carries to see if we can get a spark going or something.
Right.
That's my best guess at that.
Okay. Yeah, keep starting Jones, I guess.
Oh yeah.
All right. I have him in a league, and I feel weird when I start him. It just doesn't feel good like it used to,
Right.
Just doesn't.
4 years ago, Aaron Jones doesn't start.
Yeah. For the Titans, neither Pollard nor Spears hit even 5 PPR points. I'm wondering if there's something really wrong with Pollard's foot here. There might be more to that than what's, being put out there. Ridley. He finished with 10 PPR points, and Nick Westbrook-Akina had a big play and ended with 19.
That's an outlier.
We keep saying that. He keeps scoring all these fantasy points.
You can't just. It's gotta come to earth.
You would think so. You would really think so. Let me pull this up really quick because I did look at this earlier and I was like, like I knew that this is what we were going to say, but jeez. Since week 6, 7, 10, 11, 16, 6, 19. Like, this guy just catches touchdowns. 5 touchdowns in 6 games.
Crazy.
It is unreal. I don't know, man. It's hard to buy into because, like, as soon as you do, he drops you 4 fantasy points.
Touchdown-dependent wide receivers are even, I think, more of a risk than touchdown-dependent running backs. Maybe not. I don't know.
That's tough. That's tough. Like, what's the targets here? Like, because pull him back up quick. Yeah. From week 6, here's the targets: 2, 4, 4, 6, 3, 6. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's a deep league. I don't really have a problem with this, but your traditional 10 to 12, I don't want it. So 14 to 16, you can get away with Akina and a flex or something like that. I could see that. Makes sense. Anything else here?
Will Levis, leading rusher.
Yippee.
I don't. And you want Ridley and Akeen, but man, if they can't get this ground game going, it's only going to get worse. And I just think it's going to affect everything.
Yeah, well, I'll give them a little break there. The Vikings against the run.
Yeah, fair enough.
You hope it gets better though, because I do wonder about Pollard and this foot issue.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens going forward. It's all we can do. All right, let's move on to the Packers 20, the Bears 19. Boy,
you know who the real loser is here? Is this Chicago fans,
dude? They can't catch a break. This is insane. Even when Caleb looks better. Like noticeably better.
Yeah. They were there. They had a chance at the end. It was, oh man.
For Caleb, it feels like this new offense, new offensive coordinator is a good thing. It wasn't amazing. 16 fantasy points. 16 fantasy points. He didn't throw a touchdown. He's running. He sees an open lane. He's not just holding the ball, waiting for one of these deep guys to get open. He's just taking off with the ball. Like, well, there's a lane right there. I can see the sticks. I'm going. And good for him. He did that sometimes when he played at USC. But, again, it looked much better. More controlled, less slop. His catchable target rate was above league average this week. That's growth. Big for him. So, and again, you could see it. So while I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, you should definitely go add Caleb Williams and you should start him next week. I'm not saying that. This is more like dynasty speaking. I think you can feel a little better as 1 week. And I'm not going to like go crazy here. Again, he didn't throw any touchdowns. But as a tough division game, man, he hung in there. There were some things that looked good. Shorter area passing, way more motion than I'm ever used to. Way more motion than I'm ever used to, like pre-snap motion. Which was, when that happens, guys tend to get open sometimes really quick, right off the snap.
Get somebody confused or something.
And he was hitting those guys. So man, I think this is a good thing for Caleb going forward. Again, as far as redraft goes, I'm not saying you should run out and start him, but it does make things a little better for pass catchers.
I just let him sit there and redraft. But
right.
Some other people on this team might be benefit enough that
other
it could,
things. Yeah. So it wasn't amazing for pass catchers, but again, it did look better. DJ Moore ends with 13 PPR points.
Hooray!
Yeah, right. Adunze with 12. I wonder if that's something maybe you can lean into going forward as Adunze, maybe like a
just
sneaky.
Get out of the way, Adunze. It's not your time yet.
Keenan Allen with 8. Adunze actually led with 10 targets to Moore's 7 and Allen's 8. Again, it looked better. So are you going to instill a little bit of faith in these pass catchers? How would you rank them rest of season?
Just on this team?
Yep.
Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunes.
I'm going to go DJ Moore, Roma Dunes, Keenan Allen.
Okay.
So we're a little different there. Curious to see how that shakes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a little more faith than what you had a week ago.
There's still a couple things though, like the one play where Caleb rolled out and Keenan Allen's coming across like here, like why are you not just taking that?
Yeah.
But it's a first down.
Right. Yep.
And he threw like a pass like in the middle of the back of the end zone, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like he was right in front of you. Like is it just arm confidence or?
Well, to that point too, you're seing that more. You saw that more this past week.
Yeah, coming out of the pocket.
Yeah, rolling them out and giving them an opportunity. And I like what they're doing. I do. I think this is something hopefully that we can like take another step off of. I think it's good for someone like Adunze he could be a sneaky ad this week. He's probably available in quite a few leagues. That might be a decent ad. He's not the top of the list, but I think Adunze merits a little bit of consideration there, don't you?
Yeah.
It's one game. But if this is how things are going to grow for him, then I'll buy in a little bit.
I got to see a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. This is a more don't cut someone that you shouldn't cut.
Right.
But if you have trash down there, go for it. Swift bounces back after a 6 PPR point showing and gets you 16 here. Roschon Johnson sees more work than he has in previous weeks.
10 carries.
Yeah, 10 carries, 1 catch. He did score a touchdown, 10 PPR points. I cut him and Javonte Williams in your league this week.
Boy.
Yeah.
I will say this, DeAndre Swift was far more efficient with his touches than Roschon Johnson was. You're talking a 5.1 to 3.3. So if I'm a Swift owner, I'm not super worried yet.
No.
Roschon's going to get in there a little bit, but
Yeah, I think that you could see that a little. 14 carries to what was it, 10?
Yep.
2 catches for Swift.
1 for Roschon.
1 for Roschon, right. 82 yards, though, for Swift.
Yeah.
And a touchdown, 16 PPR points. So, yeah, we're not really concerned about
Johnson's going to be there, but I think you're fine. I'm not too worried if I'm a Swift owner.
I agree. For the Packers, Jordan Love, he was pretty solid for you. 20 fantasy points. Only threw 17 times, but 261 yards and a touchdown. Didn't throw a pick, but he also ran one in.
Yeah, the run in, that's big help.
Yep, big help. I think I'd like to find some insurance here on Love. And Anthony Richardson, Bo Nix, something like that, if they're out there. I don't really like the Packers' rest of season schedule. San Fran, Miami, Detroit, playoffs, Seattle, New Orleans, Minnesota, Or are you going to go ahead and be okay with just continuing with Love with no hesitation?
The schedule seemed pretty middle of the road to me. Like Seattle and New Orleans in the playoffs. Like I get
That's true.
last game, but
That's true. Seattle is like weird. Like some weeks they're real tough on defense, and then other weeks it's like, where'd you go?
yeah,
I just don't know what the
like
make
San
of that.
Fran, and then the final one was what, Minnesota. That's not great. But
Seattle, New Orleans, Minnesota for the playoffs. We'll just talk play. If you're trying to get in, San Fran, Miami, Detroit.
yeah, I don't mind that, and maybe have a contingency plan. I agree with what you're saying there for the Minnesota game, maybe depending on matchups and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not still in on Jordan Love for that schedule.
Pass catchers were weird again.
Yeah.
Dobbs, 2 PPR points, Reed with 10, but Christian Watson with 20. I know you picked him up. Did you start him?
I did start him.
You did?
Yeah, I believe so.
Nice. Man, when he's healthy, he's really good.
Maybe not. Maybe I started that Punk Waddle.
Oh, no.
I think I might have. Who did I start, Mitchell?
Oh.
Damn!
Waddle.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there it is. 20 points right on my bench.
Oh, man.
No, would that have mattered?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
that would have made a difference.
Oh, geez. Sorry to bring that up. Hey, when him and Love are both healthy and on the field, like there's something there, right?
Man, I'd have beat you. Oh, what a coward.
Close one, man.
What a coward. I should have just started him. Yeah.
You know, when I look at that schedule, actually, there is a little bit of shootout appeal in some of those games.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Are you going to put some stock in this Watson thing? Or is
Yeah.
it just yeah? Is it still Reed for you rest of season? You know what his snap share was yesterday?
Jaden Reed's?
Yeah,
No.
57%. It kind of rides there in this weird, like
It's
just
so
under
weird.
60. It's very weird. I don't know. This whole thing's been frustrating.
Give me Christian Watson out of these receivers rest of season.
So Watson, Reed, Dobbs.
Yeah. Plus, I just picked up Watson, so.
All right. Give me give me Reed, Watson, Dobbs again. I can't keep doing this though. This whole thing is just, I don't know.
You're going to keep doing this and you will like it.
Very uneasy. Tucker Kraft, huge letdown, 0 PPR points, 1 target. Was Nick right on his sell high call?
Yeah.
I would say he may have been. If you listen to him, good on you. This could bounce back, right?
Yeah, but that's pretty ugly.
It's pretty ugly.
If you
but
sold him last week, you're feeling real good right
you
now.
gotta think though, like Love threw the ball 17 times.
I know. That's
Which leads me right into this. Josh Jacobs. 18 carries, 76 yards. So there's 18 touches there. Only threw the ball 17 times. Like, what are you going to... There's only so many targets here.
but
You
in
know?
a better game where it's more
You would think that Tucker Kraft would...
bounce back a little
At
bit.
0 seems not right. I don't know. But anyway, Josh Jacobs. 18 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Got pretty involved in the passing game. 4 catches, 58 yards, 22 PPR points.
This seems like the best Jacob season in like 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, I guess. There's still a lot of low teen 12 and 13 point games with like crazy volume. It's just,
Yeah.
but I think all it is like,
But honestly,
You look
where
at
he was drafted, because we were kind of saying like he was maybe not going to do good, but that's probably right about where he should have been drafted.
I guess. Here's my problem is like this greed issue. Like I see the output and I'm like, okay, double digit points. And then I turn my head over just a little bit and look at the touches and I'm like, you got 12 with 24 touches?
Sure.
Yeah, I
You got
guess.
them points on your team.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should hop off this train. I don't know. You got to keep leaning on the volume.
People
You just-
drafted Travis Etienne in front of him.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah. I think you just lean on the volume and hope for the efficiency. When he's like a weak winner.
Yeah.
So nice efficiency here. And the passing usage is nice. Passing down usage. He's getting involved in the passing game. So yeah, when he's efficient with his touches, it's a weak winner. So you got anything else for this one?
Nope.
All right, this next one's going to be quick. You ready for this?
Yeah.
The Jaguars 6, the Lions 52.
Yikes.
Good
That's that
Lord.
score that's never been done in the NFL before.
Yeah. So this is bad. So I don't know what to say about the Jags here, man. Like You can start Brian Thomas, but he's a risky flex as long as, Mac Jones is in there leading the way.
Or Doug Peterson probably has like a meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
He'll be fired. And they shouldn't. I think that's stupid.
No,
it's like,
dumb.
yeah, okay, let's bring in a whole nother regime for this kid that you brought. Like, come on. Like, they need to stay with him for another year. Like, keep some familiarity for Lawrence, man, and keep building off what you got. God, be patient. So Thomas, risky flex, right?
Yeah.
Like, as long as Mac Jones is in there. But Thomas also doesn't look fully healthy. I don't know. Just hope it gets better when Lawrence returns.
No, but I'm taking those.
Yeah.
Even Evan Ingram, like, he's still...
Yeah.
Targets are there.
Yeah. You got to hope it gets better when Lawrence comes back. And, like...
It will.
I feel the same about Evan Ingram. I mean, ETN I'm avoiding regardless. I don't care who's under center. But Ingram and Thomas... You can still start him. It's not as great without Lawrence, and hopefully he's back here pretty shortly. There's nothing else to say. The Lions, again, this is going to be quick. Like, where do we begin? Jared Goff, over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, even ran for 20, 38 fantasy points. Gibbs, 18 PPR points. Monty with 24. Amon-Ra with 39.
Yeah, buddy.
Jamison Williams, 22. Hell, even Brock Wright caught a touchdown for good measure. Everyone got in on the party.
How dare you, Brock Wright?
Listen, the Lions players have been great. Gibbs, Monty, St. Brown, Williams. You start them all with confidence every week. It's unbelievable. As an Eagles fan in the NFC, I'm terrified of this team. This is a well-rounded, solid football team, man.
I know something I have from the notes of this game that I just thought was so weird, and it doesn't really have anything to do with like the fantasy aspect of it, but you know how many people carried the ball for the Lions in this game?
How many people?
8. 8 different people carried the ball for the Lions in this game.
That's stupid.
Gotta run the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Must be Sione Vaki got in there a little bit.
Sione Vaki had 5 carries.
No kidding.
Hendon Hooker got some carries. Craig Reynolds, some of the notable names.
Wait, why did Hendon Hooker carry them? Or was he just in under center?
Probably at the end of the game.
I guess. All right. Okay.
At that point, I had tuned out. I just knew the Lions were racking up points over there. I was like, okay.
All right. You got anything else for this, man?
No.
All right. Let's move on to the Rams 28, the Patriots 22. Well, this was all Kupp and Nakua.
Hey, Matt Stafford's still good.
Yeah. What do you throw? Like 4 touchdowns, I think. Kupp, 6 catches, 10 targets for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns, 28 PPR points, and Puka. 7 catches on 9 targets for 123 yards and a touchdown, 25 PPR points. Nakua got a little banged up. I was concerned. I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Is this guy made of glass? What are we doing?
I will say,
Jeez.
if you followed Puka Nakua, college career, the reason he fell to the 5th round.
That's why he fell.
Yeah.
Hurt all the time. But he returned, so that was good. I didn't see an injury tag. So that's good. Listen, both these guys look great. Nakua looks so fast. Kupp's route running is as sharp as ever. It's easy smash start. As long as they're healthy, man, you're starting these guys.
Oh, absolutely.
They're incredible. Another down week for Kyren Williams. Last 3 weeks, 9, 11, and 8 PPR points. And so I went and looked at it. Kind of coincides with Kupp returning.
Yeah.
So he's lost about 7 carries per game over the last 2 weeks against his average, down from 22 down to 15. I don't know. Are you concerned with this?
No. Unless you can get some monster right before trade deadline trade for him, no. He's still super efficient when he runs the ball. He's still involved in the passing game. The opportunity is down, but I think he's going to start finding the end zone, and these numbers are going to look a lot better.
Okay. What's the... I was curious. I should have probably put this in notes. I was curious on their rest of season schedule for Kyren. Oh, wonderful. Philadelphia next week. All right. Well, that's not great, but Philadelphia, New Orleans, Buffalo. That sounds good. New Orleans and Buffalo. Playoffs, San Fran, the Jets, Arizona.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you do against San Fran the first time around? I'm sure it was fine. It was fine. It's 30 PPR points.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
yeah, it was no real concern, I guess.
No.
just, I don't know. I was wondering, like, man, a little like touchdown dependent maybe, but I don't think that's the case. I just think, I mean, if you go, the yardage isn't wonderful. I mean, he's hit 100 yards once,
Right.
but like you said, the passing work. Some games he gets 5 catches. Some days, he gets 0.
This has got to be one of the first games where he didn't get a catch this year, and that
week 7.
Week 7 he didn't.
It's only this is it. In week 5 he had 1 catch. Other than that, it's 2 or more.
Right.
2, 3, 4, 5 catches. So, all right. No, yes, 2 games with 0. Okay. Do you have anything else for the Rams?
Matthew Stafford is a quarterback that you could pick up on waivers as a stash quarterback. I think at this point, if he's available, that get some matchup-based games in the playoffs. Don't get too cute, but Stafford's still really good.
Yeah, when he's got his guys healthy, man, he's still Matt Stafford.
Yep.
New England, Drake May, pretty serviceable if you spot started him. 30 of 40, 282 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 27 rushing yards, 19 fantasy points. He helped, Hunter Henry. He helped him out, got him to 12. Demario Douglas, 10. Kendrick Bourne, what do you get? 18, I think.
Yeah.
Still interested in just Douglas rest of season.
Kendrick Bourne looked really good.
So he had 5 targets.
Caught all 5 of them.
Yes. 9 targets for Henry, 7 for Douglas, 6 for Keyshawn Boutte. I like him in Dynasty. His name kills me, but I love him in Dynasty. I am intrigued with him.
Mario Douglas is still my number 1 here, but I've got my eye on Kendrick Bourne a little bit.
That's fair. He's not like, I'm not like, oh, you got to add him this week, but he's one worth monitoring.
Drake, the Patriots are going to be playing from behind. Drake May is good enough that he can put up some numbers with these guys. I'm not going to say they're going to be out of this world numbers, but he can put up some serviceable PPR numbers with these receivers for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm with you. Douglas, I'm more interested in Douglas rest of season. And Henry, there's guys that pique my interest more than him. But I suppose if you had to, I mean, he gets attention.
Yeah.
So, Ramondre Stevenson, 24 total touches, 89 total yards, no touchdowns, 12 PPR points. Touchdown dependent running back. I mean, that's just.
I think at this point, though, if you're a Stevenson owner, you're happy with that, right?
Yeah. And listen, he's a flex with RB2 upside when he scores a touchdown.
Right.
That's so it's hard not to chase the volume if you didn't move off him by now.
But I'm saying at this point in the season, you're happy with that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, realistic expectations.
Yep. I think that's fine. So yeah, again, how do you not chase the volume if you didn't move off him?
Right.
You have to. Anything else for this?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to the Ravens 16, Steelers 18. Hey, your boys got a dub. Legit division rivals. Defensive, low-scoring game equals low fantasy output.
Yeah.
But a big win for your boys. That's great, right?
Yeah.
You seem like not that happy about it.
I'm ready for Justin Fields to come back. I don't care what anybody on this planet says.
Yeah.
I do not see the difference other than Justin Fields gives us more opportunity. Like some of people forget how much Justin Fields wasn't not throwing the ball deep. A lot of them got called back and stuff, or just were that close.
One thing Wilson still can't do is throw it to the middle of the field.
This should have been the difference maker. This should have been okay, this is why we're starting Justin Fields starting Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. Maybe
I'll give him a little.
Pickens has gotten a little bit of an uptick, but not.
I'm gonna give a full context. Just makes it tough. I don't want to be too hard on Russ, just because this Steelers Ravens is one of the last legit. This is just how these games go. They just beat the snot out of each other. Both defenses always rise up to the highest that they possibly could. I don't know. He did burn us in the spot start call. That's for damn sure.
And
I started him.
This has been my worst DFS week.
That really panned out bad, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
A couple of them didn't hit.
Well, listen, I feel everyone's pain on Russ. George Pickens, he's really good. So is his volume. 8 catches, 12 targets, 89 yards, 16 PPR points. He's an impressive, just bully style physical receiver. I love watching George Pickens, man.
This whole offense kind of has that attitude, because Najee too.
Najee, hey, listen, both Najee and Jalen were serviceable running backs this week.
Absolutely.
against this vaunted defense, man. Najee finishes with 13, Warren with 10 PPR points, 22 touches for Najee, and 13 total touches for Warren.
But it's almost like we went backwards. This looked like the offense at the beginning of the season. Like it was all this like little short things, and they're trying these like, I don't know.
I'm going to chalk this up.
Russ's first big division game.
Well, like I said at the beginning, legit division rivals, defensive, low scoring game equals low fantasy output. And then in real life side, it's like, man, yeah, this is Russ's first, like, yeah, you didn't have any division games like this in the NFC West there, did you, buddy?
Seattle and San Fran, some of them were like, man, in that era, there was some pretty nasty, like.
You're right, with the whole Crabtree and Richardson stuff.
Oh, yeah, and you had Patrick Willis and Bowman in the middle, and, you know, you had the Legion of Boom back there. Like, that got nasty in some
You're right,
rivalries.
but, like, nothing to me is like a Ravens-Steelers rivalry.
No, and I'm biased, but this is the best rivalry in football.
It is. I totally agree. To these running backs, both flexes.
Yeah. Oddly enough, they both catch a couple passes a game and they're getting the work.
Do you still sell Najee if you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I still call Najee more of a high-end flex and Jaylen Warren a riskier flex.
Sure. I would agree with that. And I agree on the sell if you can.
Yeah.
Getting close to where you just can't make trades, period. But if you can, yeah, I would if it betters you. If it keeps you the same, just hold on to Najee.
Yeah.
You 22 touches, hang on to that volume. Pretty quiet on the Ravens side, man. Lamar with 15 fantasy points, 10 PPR points for Henry, 11 for Flowers, 4 for Andrews with Likely back. That's weird. Yeah.
TJ Watt big hit at the beginning of the game. That set the tone like, oh, man.
Yeah, sure.
I don't ever remember seeing Derrick Henry get hit like that.
I made my son.
Granted, like, give Henry the credit. It was he was trying to turn a little bit off balance. He tried to shoulder him a little bit, but like Watt had all the momentum. But
oh, yeah.
You're just not used to seeing that happen.
I made sure my son got a chance to watch that a couple of times. Like, you watch this.
Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson both, oddly enough, never done good against Pittsburgh.
No. Weird. Neither one of these guys tended, like, both sides of the team, it's always so low scoring and just.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I should have known that. Like, talking about Russ, like, kind of my bad. I should have known that. Let's like, wait. This is a Steelers-Ravens rivalry. Like, what do we expect in like 33-30 kind of game? No. Like, I don't know why I thought that. I don't care what on paper.
I didn't expect this, though. I thought, and it sounds dumb, a little bit of a jump, but I thought, like, 27-24.
Yeah.
Just because the Ravens offense was so good, I thought they would at least get a couple things on Pittsburgh. And
yeah. And to the Ravens' credit, like, their side rose up.
Yeah.
As far as defense goes, they've been terrible against the pass, and it's just what this game does, man. Listen, it's one of the last real rivalries left. It's what happens when these two meet up. Their games always reflect that. If you go back through history and look at that, it's just kind of how they reflect more often than not. So, better days ahead for players on both sides of these teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
We're just talking about this game in general. Anything else?
Yeah.
They think it's worth noting that now this is the revenge game plays into there too, but they took like 3 or 4 deep shots to Deontay Johnson. Deep shots.
I did see that.
I don't know if there's anything to make of that. He's still a snap share is still super low. Not anybody I'm adding or anything, but I did like
something to keep your eye on.
Well,
he's probably on teams anyway.
It seems weird to me though. Like, it doesn't seem like he would be the deep guy.
No, it should be Zay. You would
think. For sure, but
yeah, he did.
Just something that I noted in that game, I guess.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the 4:00 games, and we'll start with the Seahawks 20, the 49ers 17. Look at Geno go.
Good for you, Geno.
Yeah. Listen, we didn't like his fantasy prospects this week. We were right. He gave you 14. But in real life, what a stud.
You're happy with Geno if you're a Seahawks fan.
No kidding. Great finish by Geno for a solid division win. Good for the Hawks, man. DK was fine. Gave you 14 PPR points against a solid defense. But you know who looked fantastic and reliable and always open when Geno needed him to be?
Mr. Jackson Smith-Njigba.
That's right. Our big second half finish prediction already kind of showing.
Yeah. I'm excited.
22 PPR points. So it's versatile. Super versatile. For context, Lockett had 3 PPR points, 11 targets for JSN, 3 for Lockett. Hell, he out-targeted DK 11-9. So listen, as previously stated here, just a few days ago, I'm in on JSN rest of the season.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, he's what are we calling him?
At least a wide receiver 2. Oh, I take that back. Just wide receiver 2.
I'll call him a receiver 2.
Yep.
Okay. Ken Walker, little disappointing, only 13 PPR points after dropping 20 on San Fran when they last met. But listen, tough division game against a solid defense. You know how many concerns I have? 0.
This kid's a stud.
He is. So don't get cute. Better days ahead, man. Don't get cute. Brock Purdy stayed serviceable, 19 fantasy points. Unfortunately, we had no Kittle for him to throw to.
And it showed.
Yeah, it did. Hope he's back here real soon. Debo got you 6 PPR points, 0 for Pearsall, and how about Juwan Jennings, man? Wow. 10 catches, 11 targets, 91 yards, and a touchdown, 25 PPR points. He looked absolutely incredible. Out-targeted Debo 11-7. Rest of season, I'm saying it now, Juwan over Debo.
Yeah, I'll jump on that boat.
Even with Kittle back?
Yep.
Me too. He just looks really, really good, man. What was the point of paying IU?
They can't pay Juwan now. This guy is gone.
This is insane. McCaffrey was fine, 13 PPR points. Better days coming, I would say, as the wheels keep getting greased here game by game.
Yeah.
Probably be thrilled to have him when the playoffs hit. Do you have anything else for this game?
Nope.
Okay. This will be quick. Let's move on to the Falcons 6, the Broncos 38. Well, okay then. We see you, Denver. We see you, Bo. We see you too, Cortland Sutton. We see you, Sean Payton's very difficult run game to figure out. We see that too. What are we doing there? I don't know. I don't even know.
I'm going to tell you something right now. This Broncos team,
We're tough out.
they're dangerous.
They're
starting to get dangerous.
more dangerous than Baker on a Saturday morning at OU.
No. Nothing is more dangerous than Baker that day, man.
Let's start here with Bo Nix, 28-33, very efficient. 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, only ran twice for 5 yards.
I didn't expect to see this Bo Nix this early.
Nope.
In his career.
Mm-mm.
In the dynasty leagues that I took him in, I thought this was going to be like, you got to be really patient on this and wait it out. Man, this is encouraging.
To top that, the only running twice for 5 yards thing, still 32 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Listen, Bo looked poised. His accuracy's coming along. Shows a real rapport with his receivers, especially Sutton. Denver gets the Raiders next week. Are you expecting this to snowball?
Oh, yeah.
Me too, man. Like, where are we on Bo rest of the season?
Top 15.
Got to think something. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think that's a reach at all. That's very fair. I was going to say top 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something else. It's a little too rich for me yet. I might be changing my mind.
Going to 12?
I almost did.
Did you? I thought about it myself, but I'll be honest.
Let's see if he does what he should do.
Right.
That's what I'm looking. Let's say, all right, you did this to Atlanta. Now you should go to Las Vegas, and this should keep going.
Right.
If this is a real thing, like there's no reason it shouldn't, right? Outside of it is a division game. It's a division game. So, give me top 15 rest of the season. Marvin Mims, 12 PPR points. I'm fading that. I am not fading Sutton in his 14 PPR points. He's Bo's go-to guy, 8 targets. The volume continues. So does the production. And with that, so do the weekly starts and trust in Sutton. Tyler?
Yeah.
I mean,
there is one game that is concerning in the next 5 for the Broncos.
Okay.
They have the Raiders. After that, they go to Cleveland. We talked earlier about how depleted that secondary is. And they have the Colts, who can definitely be thrown on.
Yeah.
You have the Chargers then. The Chargers, right back to the Bengals.
So what's the playoff schedule?
Playoff schedule. So, Bengals, Chargers, Colts.
That's 15, 16, 17?
Yeah.
Wow. Chargers is a little scary in the middle. But, yeah. Bo Nix, man. If he's available, you better add him. Even if you're just blocking somebody else, you better add Bo Nix if you can, as long as it don't hurt you. Again, what the hell do we do with these running backs? Javonte, 13 total touches. He did score a touchdown.
Let him be somebody else's headache.
Yeah, right. I don't want to deal with this, man. Estimate 9 total touches. I think he had like just a couple carries or 2 snaps in the first half, something like that. Ridiculous.
Okay, I got to make sure I got this right. They have a bye week, week 14.
Denver does.
Yeah, so that was throwing me off a little bit. And then 15 and 16 are the Colts and Chargers.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to clarify that before we move forward. 17 is the Bengals. The bye week was throwing me off, though. I'm sorry about that.
So the one in the middle can make you go, it's a division game, and it's a tough defense. So that's my computer's freezing up here, so I can't pull anything up. Oh, there it is. But I was curious. I did want to see one thing before we kind of move forward here. I have to assume that Bo probably already played the Chargers once. They did. 19 to 23, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 6 carries for 61 yards, 22 fantasy points.
Not a problem.
I mean, come on, man. Give me some Bo Nix.
Yeah,
this is awesome. I like watching him play. Been rooting for him so hard for no real reason. I don't know why.
Right.
I'm just kind of in on this thing. As far as we're going to fade the backfield, right? This is too much of a damn headache.
For sure. Yep.
I don't know what to say about Atlanta. I don't know what the hell that even was. I don't know. All I can say is better days ahead. The Broncos defense just abused the hell out of Cousins and the offense as a whole. Maybe look to add McLeod. Mooney's banged up, but I did see today where it doesn't seem like it's all right. Hamstring and Achilles. I'll have to see if he misses any time.
Anytime you see the hamstring, it's like,
and Achilles.
Yeah.
But they're heading into a bye.
Yeah.
So that's
hopefully get the rest.
But if he is hurt, it's like McLeod, 10 PPR points. Like his stock goes up. So when there's no Mooney.
Yep.
Tyler, there's nothing else to talk about here. They'll get ready.
What are your thoughts on Devon Vele? Is this a guy that you're starting to put as a low waiver priority, or
no?
No,
because like Franklin caught a touchdown, Mims goes involved, little Jordan Humphrey, like they just.
Devon was second in targets, though.
He was with 6.
6, yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I do have interest in him.
Just had to ask.
Yeah,
yep.
I think to me, like it's Bo and Sutton.
Okay.
Everything else can might happen. You never know.
Right.
But yeah, dynasty. I'm very interested in Devon Vele. Sure. I think that's it. I think the Falcons will get right, and there's nothing else to talk about.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the Chiefs 21, the Bills 30.
Aha!
Yeah, Josh Allen puts his team on his shoulders like we said he'd have to do, and he pulled one over on Mahomes and the Chiefs. Good for Allen. He's so easy to root for, man.
He's my favorite.
He's awesome, man.
My favorite quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, he's great. Gave a good fantasy day. 27 to 40, 262 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Ran 12 times for 55 yards and a touchdown, 24 fantasy points. It is what you expect out of Allen. And more often than not, he delivers.
Yeah.
All right. Shakir, peppered with 12 targets. Oh, I also would like to say that final drive where it's like, and Josh Allen was like, you know what? There's running room here. I'm going to take it. Oh, wait. If I cut this way, you know what? If I score a touchdown, we win this game. So
right.
I thought that was awesome how he's just like, we're doing this right now. We're ending this right now.
Yeah.
Good for him, man. Because you can't just get lucky and beat the Chiefs. Like, you have to go win.
No, you already had the lead. He wanted to punch in that touchdown.
You have to go beat him. It's the modern day Patriots, man. Like, you have to. Like,
and Allen knew that when he came back in the field. He had Nope. There was no field goal thought in his head. He's like, I want a 2-possession lead right now.
Yep. So I like seeing that play. Like, oh, look at him go.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Shakir, peppered with 12 targets, caught 8 for 70. Gave a respectable 15 PPR points. Pretty well fading this Curtis Samuel thing. He gave you 16. That is a fade, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
He looked great, but yeah, I just don't think the opportunities are going to continue to be there.
Yeah. Cooper did play. Had a modest 2 catches on 3 targets, but around 50 yards.
I still think Cooper's going to be the guy that comes in here. Yeah.
This has got to get going.
He's banged up right now, and being new with the offense, I think this is going to be fine as crunch time rolls around.
If you're a team who's already in, you've locked up your spot, Cooper's on your bench, this could be
right.
The only problem that comes with that is like there's been no trust built up yet. Having
Right.
him on your roster, like with the Bills. So like say he has like one great game before now and week 15 and the playoffs start. It's going to merit a lot of trust to put him in there because he's just not something that you've seen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It just makes it a little scary.
Also make the argument though, if your trade deadline's still open, like see if you can
Maybe go get him.
throw something at him. You
Might be a good
coming up
buy
a
low.
game where he has 2 for 55. It's not like
That could be a really good buy low.
do it now before he puts together a 15, 16 point game, I guess.
Yeah, good call there. Good buy low target.
Especially if you're a contender and you're just looking for some extra bench space or something, you could do a lot worse than.
I like that call. I didn't even cross my mind. That's a great point. If you had to spot start Knox for Otten or McBride, it wasn't great, but I know. But you could have done worse than 8 PPR points, man. It is what it is. Not much to go on there. We said Cook would need to score to be serviceable against the Chiefs' run D. He did it twice.
Yeah.
Good thing,
Right.
because he only ran for about 20 yards. So, but he did have 5 catches, though only for 7 yards. So that we talked about, he's going to need to be involved in the passing game. He's going to need to fall into the end zone to make this a reasonable day. And it was beyond that.
7 points without those 2 touchdowns.
Yes, I know. I know. So the Bills get a much needed bye and have the Niners out of that bye. So hopefully Cooper can get
Should be a
healthy.
good run too.
Yeah, it should be a great game. Mahomes was fine, 18, better than his average. You'll take it if you've hung with him this far. I don't know. Do we cut Xavier Worthy? Good Lord. So other than Xavier Worthy, who had 16 PPR points, who we just said you can drop, it was Noah Gray with 18. Kelsey, Hunt, and Hopkins all scored less than 10 PPR points. So no concerns, Tyler? Like, did Buffalo just have their number at home this time?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell. This man coverage was a thing.
Yes, it was. So teams usually run away from man coverage. They play zone a lot against the Chiefs. These guys didn't. They were like dumbfounded and didn't know what to do. It's like they just didn't know that no one does this to us. I don't know. It was very concerning.
It's very Sean McDermott to me.
Yeah.
That's like I'm just like this guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah. He was in Philly. They just didn't give him much of a chance.
I'm telling you, that guy just.
He was Jim Johnson's predecessor, and like he was like working under him.
He probably had like. Oh my god! I just think this guy just. There's a couple of just stray hairs coming out of that bald head. They fall out on Chiefs week. Like he's just stressing about this game.
You know it. Yeah, the man. I don't know. The thing that worries me is it's a copycat league, and they might have just like laid out a game plan for everybody else.
Yeah,
but does everyone else have the tools and weapons and the brilliant defensive coordinator mind to be able to handle it? I don't know. So we'll find out when they play again.
You know who does?
Who's that? The Steelers. Yes, they do. Do you have anything else for this game, man? I mean, let me ask you though. Do you have concern?
Yeah, this was weird. I have some concerns. Travis Kelce had the same stat line as Samaje Perine. I mean, the hell's going on?
I would have to give this another week. And
yeah, you still got to have the faith in Kelce, but man, DeAndre Hopkins, I'm starting to fade a bit.
His snap share is like 47% or something like that.
It's not great.
Below 50.
Right.
Juju had a couple catches or a catch.
He had 8 catch,
But,
8 yards.
I don't know, man. We'll give this another week before we start to get to Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Sunday Night Football. The Bengals 27, the Chargers 34. Just like Chicago, the poor Bengals, man. Like they can't win even when they play fantastic. Like they just can't. Evan McPherson is killing these guys. Like, 2 missed field goals. He's not really been himself this year. They always call him Money Mac. Ugh. I want to drop that moniker for a little bit, maybe. Joe Burrow, 3 straight weeks of 30 or more fantasy points. He goes on bye for week 12, comes out of that bye against Pittsburgh. Yeah, you're happy with Joe. I mean, in real life, though, like what? They can't win.
Oh, the defense is playing terrible right now.
Bad. This was a great game, though. I did fall asleep in the middle of it. I woke up to Joe Burrow trying to drive down to get ahead, and
this game made me.
McPherson missed a few.
This game made me very mad.
Yeah,
it was like what 24-6 going into halftime.
Yeah,
I was feeling good. Went and got some nachos. I was sitting there like, oh yeah, buddy. Chargers just wrapped the thing up, and Joe came out there slinging it to T. Higgins, messing up my shit.
Yeah. Chase and Higgins, man, wow. They were huge in the comeback effort. Chase had 7 catches on 13 targets for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns, 26 PPR points. Higgins also had 13 targets, caught 9 for 148 and a touchdown, 29 PPR points. I mean, they're ridiculous. Easy starts every week. What else do you say? I mean, some of these guys, it's so obvious. Like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, and
other than
it's
how
crazy.
great they are.
The only team that even comes close, in my opinion, I'd say is the Rams with Kupp and Nakua.
Yeah.
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, it is just 2 ones on the same team, and it is a problem.
Yeah, it is if they can just freaking win games. I don't know. I tell you what, if this team gets in the wild card, I don't want to face them. You don't want to deal with this. You know what I mean?
No. I'd rather face the Bengals than the Broncos. I'm going to throw that out there right now. I think the Broncos
just because of the defensive side.
Yeah, I think the Broncos are that team.
Yeah.
It's like
you can beat the Bengals in a shootout.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get in a shootout.
Good luck
with the
trying to. Yeah.
I don't even know if you can start one.
And like with Bo getting together.
Yeah.
The Broncos, I agree with what you're saying with the Bengals, but the Broncos still have my dark horse vote.
They're a scary team, man. Chase Brown has nothing short of great. He's been great.
Yeah, I was in a league I was worried about picking up Khalil Herbert, and I'm glad I did, but
you should for some insurance.
Sure, but he wasn't existent in the timeshare at all.
Well, I'll talk about taking the job and running with it in a literal sense. 22 carries, 86 yards, 5 catches for 57 yards, no touchdowns, but the volume alone and continued action in the passing game helped Brown get you 18 PPR points.
18 points with no touchdowns.
With no touchdowns, Come on, dude. 2 rock solid run defenses in a row.
Yeah.
With the Ravens and now the Chargers. 22 last week, I believe.
It's not a problem.
No. Both weeks with 18 or more PPR points. After just a few days and another game to watch, I am now in Tyler's boat.
Yeah, baby.
I agree that Chase Brown, shockingly, is a freaking RB1. He is.
Yeah.
Chase Brown's an RB1, man. It sounds weird, but... And, a lot of these teams probably have a running back or 2 that you already drafted ahead of them that are fine. So he's probably a flex.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you love it. Justin Herbert, he looks really good, man. They're allowing him to throw more. Before I fell asleep, one thing I noticed, immediately, was way more first down play action passes.
Yeah, they kind of got away from that in the second half.
Sure.
And the Bengals started.
But the fact is, they are letting him open things up a little bit. Designed run down by the goal line last week. His scramble rate right now is higher than Kyler Murray's. He's giving you rushing upside.
It's 65 rushing yards.
Yep, 65 rushing yards this week, 32 yards rushing last week, and in week 8 he had 49. So there's some late season boom here, I think. I am interested for the fantasy playoffs. So anyone who knows me, I generally spot start quarterbacks. So by the playoffs, I usually have myself a couple of them, judging by what their particular schedule is for each of them. I have no problem using Herbert in that fashion here. He's an ad for me if you can get him. And you play the spot start game from week to week. Tampa Bay, Denver, New England. That's his playoff schedule. I will avoid the Denver one at all costs, but Tampa Bay and New England, I have no problem starting him there. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Dobbins and Edwards. Dobbins doubled Edwards' touches. 12 touches for Dobbins and 6 for Edwards. Not amazing volume. And this goal line Haskins thing is annoying. But 11 carries for 56 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 29-yard touchdown run. Just 1 catch for 3 yards, 18 PPR points. The volume does bother me a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what else bothers me? Playing Baltimore in week 12 and KC in week 14. Right before the playoffs start. So if you're someone reeling for a playoff spot and you have Dobbins, I have to agree with Nick. If your trade deadline's still open, you better pull the trigger.
What if you're going to make the playoffs, though? Are you riding it out until that last 3 games? Minus the one?
Tampa Bay, Denver, New England.
Minus Denver.
The Denver one worries me, but if you're already locked in, so I'm in a league where I am locked No, I'm not locked in, but I think I'll be fine. And I have Dobbins. I think I'm going to ride it for the rest of the way, barring a couple potential trade talks that I have going on. But yeah, I mean, those games are scary. The Baltimore and KC ones, if you're trying to work your way in, but you hit it on the head, man. Like if you're already in, if you've locked it up, I say you just keep going, man.
Yeah.
They're going to run the ball a lot. I mean, they're going to run the ball a lot. Last thing here, pass catchers for the Chargers.
That McConkey.
Yeah. This thing, well, let's start with this guy. This thing where Herbert is working the seam with Disley is a real thing.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, we're going to have to.
Let's talk about it.
Disley, Will Disley is an actual weapon. I'm going to buy it for this offense. 4 catches on 6 targets, 80 yards and a score, 18 PPR points. For me, and the way tight ends are, he is a must add. Just behind Taysom Hill. If he's available and you've got room on your roster, he does seem widely unrostered. I just looked a little bit ago. He's hardly owned at all. So, yeah, big ad. I'll call him a big ad.
Yeah, I think he's right behind Taysom Hill. I think there's a gap there. But
well, I mean, there's nobody else behind Taysom Hill.
Yeah,
the ad this week.
Fair enough.
So he's right behind him. As far as McConkey and Quentin Johnston go, it's McConkey for me. I mean, that's
100%.
Yeah. I think he's just a better receiver. 9 targets for him. He caught 6 of them for 123 yards. He actually looked really good in this game. 18 PPR points. Johnston was serviceable. 8 targets, but only caught 2. 48, but he did score a touchdown. So 12 PPR points. But yeah, it's McConkey for me.
Yeah,
he's
100%.
He does more with his
opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've stated this numerous times, but I am feeling better weekly now about McConkey and Johnston when you consider my feelings on Herbert. Just kind of went up. And Herbert's like over 20 fantasy points the last 4 straight, I believe.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Before we sign off here, let's pull that up really quick just to make sure I didn't lie to everyone's ears. I do not believe I did. Yeah, last 4 straight. 25 against New Orleans, 21 against Cleveland, 20 against Tennessee, and 25 against Cincinnati. So, and in that span, through the air, 2, 4, 6, 7 touchdowns through the air. And then you can add 1 for on the ground against Tennessee, which was a designed run. So,
nice.
Yeah, I like some Herbert for the rest of the season if you're a spot start guy.
Yeah.
And I like what he's doing for guys like McConkey and Disley. So, yeah, give me some of that. All right, do you have any final thoughts, Tyler?
Nope, not today.
All right, I don't really have any today either. I don't think it's kind of a lot of scoring this weekend. That was nice. It's just that, well, you know what? I just recently made a trade for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Did you?
I was pumped over that.
I didn't pull the trigger on it. It wasn't me.
No, it was not you. This is in that the Dynasty one where just like the wild super flexes. So yeah, that was a good move there. I was happy with that. Mitchell, you got anything?
I hope Nico Collins does well tonight, and I'm excited to get Mike Evans back next week.
I hear that. All right, that's it for today's show. Again, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us your support. Remember, our PPR Superflex Dynasty rankings are now available in the description. Just click the corresponding link. They are available on our Twitter also. Make sure you're checking the description for instructions on how to get your trades graded. Join us next time for our Week 12 Thursday Night Football and 1 o'clock game slate preview. Remember, like, follow, and subscribe to our Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. It's how we survive. See you next time, everybody.
See ya.